Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Inshallah today my friend Fatin Nur Majdina and I, Dr. Farah Safura binti Muhammad from UiTM Terengganu, we will present our research titled The Concept of Arrijal Qawwamun ala Nisa in Combating Domestic Violence during COVID-19 pandemic in Malaysia. Domestic violence doesn't happen in Malaysia only, it's worldwide issue. This article will look into the concept of Arrijal Qawwamun ala Nisa, which is mentioned in Surah Nisa verse 34. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. الرجال قوامون على النساء بما فضل الله بعضهم على بعض وبما أنفقوا من أموالهم. Men are the protectors and maintainers of women because Allah has made one of them excel over the other and because they spend out of their position to support them and illa al-akhir. And based on this verse, it is important for us to re-examine the meaning and context of the term al-qawwam in this verse. All right, now let's take a look what is domestic violence and what is the factor. According to Domestic Violence Act 1994, I can summarize that domestic violence is physically abuse, financial abuse, psychological abuse, emotional abuse, technology abuse. And the factors I can summarize by three. Firstly, life stress, reduced income and job loss during this pandemic, and drugs and alcohol abuse. And the third one is cycle of domestic violence. The Quran and the Prophet's Sunnah have determined good and bad norms in Islamic morality. And let's take a look. The first point is Qawwama as a form of social responsibility. First, equality in the origin of creation, nafs wahida, as stated by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Surah Nisa, verse 1. Second aspect is religious equality as well as rewards and punishment for men and women. Allah states in Surah An-Nahl, verse 97, when the status of woman is seen and referred to in the Quran, it is actually appreciative and non-discriminatory. Some Mufassirin continue to use verse An-Nisa, verse 4, Arrijal Qawwamun ala Nisa ila al-akhir, to justify men's superiority over women in an attempt to justify men's superiority. In reality, this interpretation reflects a patriarchal bias. This pattern of interpretation carries theological and psychological implications of men's superiority over women, making women appear subservient to men. This interpretation is flawed, which is why the word qawwama must be interpreted as a leader, ruler, rather than a supporter or protector. Next point is understanding the messages and context of al-qawwam from Quranic perspective. Based on ayah bima faddalallahu ba'dahum ala ba'din wa bima anfaqu min amwalihim. Taking this verse as a normative statement will only bind women to acknowledge men's leadership in all times and circumstances. In other words, Rijal becomes a leader for Nisa if he is accompanied by the next two conditions: the ability to demonstrate his superiority and financial support. وَبِمَا أَنْفَقُوا مِنْ أَمْوَالِهِمْ. If these two conditions are not met, the man is not the woman's leader. If a husband and wife have equal ability, they can exercise collective leadership in the family. According to Nasruddin Baidan, Men's leadership styles appear to be more dominant than women's. This can be seen in terms of physical, intellectual, emotional, and religious abilities, as well as religion. With these physical advantages, men are better able to earn a living and support their families. This is consistent with the provisions of marriage dowry and family nafaqah in Islam as well, which are imposed on men. Next condition is men can engage in polygamy, but under very strict condition. The man is the subject who can marry himself in the wedding procession, while the woman is the object of the marriage who must be accompanied by his guardian. Men and others are also required to pay dowry and family nafaqah. The conclusion is that the term al-qawwam refers to responsibility, means taklif, that comes with certain condition that must be met, and it is implemented in the family domain. Understanding the concept as well as its practical and responsible application by both men and women is critical in rebuilding prosperous family and addressing the growing problems of domestic violence. Next, I would like to invite my friend to present how to combat domestic violence.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum. My name is Fatin Nurmajtina. I'm from Angkatan Belia Islam Malaysia. So I will continue this presentation by talking about the domestic violence in the time of pandemic. So as we know, the statistic from WHO show a very drastic increase in the report of domestic violence cases. And we know that the victim cannot remain silent in the face of domestic violence. The victims, either alone or with the children, critically need to seek for help and leave the violent situations to the safe place. So this is not an easy task for them, for the victims. They face few difficulties. I think the first is about the victim's fear of the predator. Worsen cases, worsen issues will happen to them. Maybe they will hit aggressively or any other situations that we can't imagine. And the second is about the reliance of the victims to the predator. They will think about how they will survive when they're out of the home, out of the house. So from that, ABIM, through HELWA, Hal Ehwal Wanita ABIM, has undertaken several initiatives for the purpose of helping victims of domestic violence out of their problems. So we do collaborate with other NGO like WAO who have experience in handling these issues. So the first we do initiate a psychosocial line, we call it as Talian Rahmah. It is for mental and emotional support, but we do offer an assistance with domestic violence cases. We do help to provide a safe place for victims who seek help during this MCO period. And from that we need more knowledge and in providing help to them. So we do organize one training with the WAO, namely the safe home for domestic violence victims. From that, we do recommend to the authorities, especially the government and agencies, to identify the need and appropriate operating mechanism to address these issues. Because the pandemic situation is very depressing and the issues of domestic violence is also challenging with threat from perpetrator to victims. So in offering helps to the victim, the most important is to ensure the safety, the security of the place that we provide to them. This is where the importance of understanding the concept of Arrijal, Qawwamun ala Nisa. So men and women have their own roles in the context of family to create sakinah, mawaddah, warahmah. So the concept of complementary, musyawarah, adil, ma'ruf, ihsan is part of the concept that must be discussed together with Rijal Qawwamun ala Nisa. And also we know that men as a head of family and also the responsibility of wali have a very significant role in creating the sakinah, mawaddah, warahmah. And also we as a women also need to be aware and understanding the right and responsibility of us as a women, as an individual, as a wife, as a mother and a member of society, what we should do, what we can't do. what we're supposed to do and what we have to do. So, and this the balance of men and women and family and society, I believe, or we believe that this will help maintaining our well-being of our family and also our society. So this is part of our presentation. Thank you very much. Thank you for your time. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.